let's jump into the pick and ban phase here.
Moving into this match, I expect to see standard bans, although if any team is going to target another, it's most likely going to be SKT having their pick at Kongdoo, because you probably can't ban out SK Telecom.
There's just too many champions that Faker can play, and Huni is showing that he can really open up his champion lineup, his champion pool as well, so I think you're definitely right in that. Although being blue side for Kongdoo, they will attempt it, going to ban out some mid champions right from the get-go, Ryze and Syndra. LeBlanc being banned here from SKT, pretty standard red side.
Now I feel like SKT has to respond with a Camille and Rengar ban unless they have something planned and want to hand over one of those to Kongdoo Monsters, but I always feel like you're walking a thin line when you do that with both of those champions.
Just please don't. I mean, have we seen any of those champions when they get picked actually lose? I feel like maybe Rengar did lose once. I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
But they're just too strong, right? You just don't want to give it over, especially when you're SKT. Just play it safe. You feel like you're the better team. Take away the super OP champs on red side, and then go from there.
So now it looks like they are hovering a Zyra pick. First, Malzahar is left open. Cougar and Wolf definitely capable of playing that.
Do they want to into the Zyra? That is the question.
Okay, now hand it over to SK Telecom. Wouldn't be surprised to just see them pick up a Malzahar and maybe even an Ashe to light shut down the ability to pick up Jhin, but Varus is also on the table.
So if that is the case, focus on the bot lane so far. Malzahar being hovered right now. It will be picked up. We've seen it's been super strong so far in all the series that we've had. Now Kha'Zix being hovered.
Yep. Kha'Zix is hovered, and definitely a lot of room for potential to go off there, especially on Peanut, one of the most aggressive junglers in the world.
Are we actually going to see Lee Sin? That's the question. He's 0-9 so far. Okay. I was getting a bit scared for Kongdoo Monster.
He is 0-9 indeed, but another hover on Jace. And they do lock that in, so now the question is going to be is what do they pick next? They might just pick their jungler here. We'll have to see how they want to sculpt their end. There's a Ziggs highlight. The Ziggs might get locked in, and now we're going to have to see how SK Telecom responds to it. SK Telecom did play Ziggs last week.
Yeah, they have to pick something to deal with that bot lane. Ziggs AD has been, or rather in that AD slot, I should say, has been getting more and more popular.
Yep. Speaking of Poppy up there in the top lane, might get locked in here for SK Telecom. A lot of people think that Jace counters Poppy, but that's not really the case at this level of play. All that Poppy has to do is get to her first core item, and then from that point, Jace can't really do anything to her.
All you do is, even if you lose in CS early on, it's okay. Because as you're saying, you get tanky enough that you can just deal with it later on and take winning trades. And we're going to see Huni on another champion once that does go up in top.
So Lee Sin banned away by SK Telecom. Talia, they're devoting another mid-lane ban targeted at Faker.
Faker's like, okay,
Rek'Sai. So forcing punch most likely onto either an Olaf or an Elise pick. And the other thing that this will do, it creates a very difficult time for Kongdoo Monsters to get a jungler that can get onto the backline that wouldn't be an Olaf, but an Olaf isn't a champion that you would want with the Ziggs, Jace, and the Zyra. So that does set up for SKT to go for the Jhin.
I just love how many mid lane champions were banned out on the side of Kongdoo Monster. I'm sure Faker's sitting there like, okay, go ahead, waste all your bans. I don't care. I have like 7 other champions that I can play.
So now Kongdoo highlights the Maokai. You need some way to get in onto the Jhin, and you might just be forced to go Olaf here. Elise not going to be reliable enough. And it is actually locked in.
Yeah. So there you go. We will be having Jace in the mid lane, and Cassiopeia still open. There's too many good mid champs.
Corki. Let's just see the Corki for SK Telecom. That would line up so well with the Poppy front line to tank. Offers a lot of counter poke. to the Ziggs and the Jace.
You called it, man. That's going to be the lock-in, and Faker will be playing that Corki.
Yeah, Faker, Faker, Playmaker. And that's going to make it very, very difficult for Punch and Roach to itemize against. There's lots of physical and magic damage coming out from SK Telecom's team composition. And, I mean, a red side Jhin and Corki, very, very good at dissuading Baron attempts.
I love it. It's going to be fantastic. We've been seeing so much Corki nowadays, and Faker probably went home one night. He's like, oh yeah, I'll practice this for like 3 hours, and then we'll bring it into the next day that we play in LCK. It's fine. Watch him go like 7-0-5 in this game. Then maybe we'll see some more Corki bans.
And so something I really am excited to watch here is Punch versus Peanut in the jungle. And I say this because it is a rematch from the Kespa Cup. And Punch has always been so good at playing AD jungler, or physical damage versus physical damage jungler matchups. And we're going to have to see how he controls the Olaf into Peanut's Kha'Zix.
Going to be a fun matchup indeed. That top lane matchup shouldn't be all too exciting. It's going to be Maokai versus Poppy. Hopefully we don't get too much watching of that lane, but some of the other lanes are definitely going to be a lot of fun. Could have some action down in bot. Also curious to see how Faker will play on that Corki in mid. The game is almost loaded up now, guys, so get out there, tell your friends, tell them that SKT is on. They're facing Kongdoo Monster here for the second series of the night. You guys can see the lineups of both teams, but let's get into it. Game number 1, SKT versus Kongdoo Monster right now. Well, SKT winning the fan cheering war, that's for sure. So they got that going for them. Definitely the favorite in this matchup. Yep. World champions multiple times. Even with their new roster, wouldn't be surprised to see a very dominating series once again.
Yeah, and we're going to see how they choose to play this match. I like how they're just spreading out level 1. You don't ever want to walk into an Olaf, and that's why we're not seeing any sort of aggression from SKT trying to get any sort of forward vision, because all it takes is one undertow from Olaf, and then you're forced to blow a flash.
It's quite annoying, but as you said, that can be countered by just not dealing with it. Just Wolf and Guger having a bit of a mating ritual dance down there in the bot lane. We'll see who gets the first auto. Well, maybe we won't get to see who gets the first auto.
And meanwhile, up in top lane, it looks like Punch is going to start on the blue buff, whereas Peanut starts on the red. And one of the things that we have to pay attention to here is how they choose to path, if they go for full clears or not, because Peanut has the luxury in that his top laner is going to be relatively safe from ganks early on. His mid laner, Faker, going to be relatively safe from ganks early on. And his bottom lane is likely to be the bully lane, assuming that Soul doesn't land a lot of bombs. And if that's the case, Peanut might be able to get away with 4 camping or 5 camping, whereas Punch might just try to do something after clearing 3 camps, and that could be disastrous.
Bit of a trade going on so far. Lithic Visions, Guger going to take a bit of damage. And just a pretty even trade for now. See if SKT can begin to bully a bit more.
Oh, we got a pause.
Microphone issue. So should be a small one, guys. Don't worry. No more 25-minute pauses like we had on day 1.
So we can talk a little bit about the game. As it went to a pause, we did get to see the routes that the junglers were taken. So Peanut went for a red buff into Wolf Camp into what I'm going to assume is going to be the blue buff, and he hasn't popped any of his refillable potions yet. Now, Punch, though, does look like he might actually be starting the Wraith Camp. So Punch will opt into taking Wraiths and then possibly his red after that, and he might just concede Scuttle Crab over to Peanut But it doesn't look like Punch is going to look to make any aggressive plays happen early, and that's a really wise decision because if he would go for a play and it would backfire, it would set him so far behind Peanut, and it would give up so much control to SKT.
Yeah, very true, and just taking a look at some of the teams here while we wait for this pause to get done. Just trying different headsets, seeing what works. It seems like it's an issue with Peanut's equipment. So, trying to get that fixed for you guys as soon as possible. Kongdoo Monster, an interesting team. They are going to be the second team to try to challenge SKT in LCK Spring 2017. And bringing the same lineup. All 5 members, as you said, really ramping up into Kespa Cup. So maybe that really does show what kind of work they're doing in the practice house. And if they continue to improve, we could see them become perhaps a top-tier team. But I feel like they need more time. But maybe this is their season. Maybe it's summer.
So Kongdoo, they have their work cut out for them with this team composition. It's going to take a lot of effort to coordinate the Ziggs and the Jace against SK Telecom. They're not really going to have a split push route available to them the longer that the game unfolds. And like I was mentioning in the pick ban, SK Telecom has a very easy time at fighting back against Kongdoo Monsters if they ever try to make a Baron play. And as the game goes longer and longer on, the only person that can really get into the backline of SKT, yes, you're going to have the Ziggs ultimate, which will force some of them to split up. But if Roach ever commits to a fight, he's just going to get locked up by Wolf. And the other thing is that Wolf can flash engage on almost any member of Kongdoo Monsters with that Nether Grasp, and it's really easy for them to clean up kills that way. So SK Telecom's team composition has a lot of gears, whereas Kongdoo Monsters, it's very one-dimensional in how it's going to go about winning a game.
Fangirl's getting a kick out of Bang, taking a little nap. And as we said before, they're not really allowed to talk during the pause, just to make sure that it's no weird tactical pauses or anything like that happen, no shenanigans. So we have some rules set in place. So might as well take a nap, store your energy for when we do get unpaused.
Bang, not looking very amused right now. Kongdoo Monsters, I like the suits as the outfit. That's very interesting.
Even with the tie.
Even, yep, the tie.
It's almost going too far in my mind, but, well, you got to dress to impress. And I guess if you look good, you play good. That's the theory there. A lot of sports players would say that, but generally they have more equipment than the eSports players do. How do you feel about that headset, that lime green Razer headset?
Well, it doesn't match their tie. So I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 10. I don't like the color of it. Now we go over to SK Telecom, the black. It's very good.
Classic.
Very classic, very classy, very sharp.
You can see they have the letters ELS down there on the shoulder that are in black.
Yep.
Shout out to LS there as well.
So the black headset wins.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't like how big and round it is, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. If it was a little bit thinner, it could be better.
Yeah.
You can see Faker's complaining about it right now, too.
He feels like he wants to get in on the action.
He's like, is this the only size available?
Says, I know Peanut's a big star player, too, but I'm the biggest one. Please take a look at me.
And it looks like we're about to get an update on the situation right now.
Someone came up with actually a fan sign.
Oh.
And I think it's a message on the fan sign. That's why I was laughing. It's an interesting way to deliver a message. But I can't read it from here. But I think we already got that information as it is Peanut's equipment. Oh, yep. He's saying yes. Looks like the issue is solved. Yes.
This will do for me. I wanted to hear Olaf as I kill him in the jungle.
Peanut, the cold steel killer. Although he doesn't quite look that way in person.
Yep. Looks like maybe we're going to get into game here shortly.
problem has been solved, and we should be getting into game shortly, just as long as everybody says they're ready to go. Both teams agree to unpause. We should be jumping into this one, so sorry for the delay, guys, but it's over for now.
And still paused right now.
At least that's what I was told.
That's what we were just told right now. No unpause yet.
Yeah, probably just got to get everybody on the same page. Tell Kongdoo that they're ready to go and make sure that they're ready as well.
Oh, we saw him nod his head, and we see that he is moving his hands, so I think the game is about to resume.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yep, it is. It's underway.
There we go. Oh, getting aggressive down here in the bot lane. Oh, he gets the root. Cougar forced to flash away, and those monsters are getting on top of him. He's still taking a lot of damage, but will get away with his life.
So they did trade the exhaust for the heal and the flash of Kongdoo Monster's bot lane. And now we can see Peanut going aggressive, and Punch read the situation really well, but then he tried to be a little bit too greedy by going for the golems, and they know that Peanut's here right now.
Yeah, they saw him with the word. That is right here, and they pinged him. They're going to ping him again, so they know exactly where he is. But this time the red is warded, so Peanut was able to get that ward down.
Yep.
And it looks like he's going to come back in right over the ward once again. Another ping comes down. Oh, look at this. Rhodes is going to get 1v1 in the top lane. Huni, man, he's looking good on those tank champs, I have to say.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure how that went down, but...
All Koma had to tell him was, what if I told you that there's a tank champ that deals just as much as damage champions? And Huni told him to tell him more.
Yeah. Tell me more, please. We saw a little gank down in bot too. Peanut getting in there, doing a bit of damage. Soul still has his flash somehow. And
Roach actually had to teleport immediately back up to top lane. Otherwise, Huni had the lane in a way where it would be very advantageous had he just delayed a recall. And we're going to take a quick replay of that, and you can see that Huni has a freeze on, actually. Meanwhile, he goes for the kill onto Roach, who flashed early, but it wasn't going to matter anyway. And just a very, very clean solo kill up in top, and it forced Roach to teleport.
Yeah. I think Roach just underestimated the amount of damage that Poppy can do. She's definitely one of the top picks right now, and super tanky. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but enough to get a kill like that. Ooh. Missing the damage there is Edge onto Faker. Calculated by Faker, no doubt.
So now Huni's lane still really good. You can notice how Peanut now is on the left-hand side of the map. Still hasn't recalled yet, though, but Huni is holding down that freeze endlessly, and this puts Roach in a very unfavorable position.
See a ward to spot Peanut there. They were looking for the gank onto Edge, but Edge does spot him. Is just going to recall. Here comes Punch up into top lane. It's already here. Is spotted by a control ward.
Yeah. And
here we go. Roach is going to jump onto Peanut, but a ton of damage coming out. Punch trying to get the kill onto Peanut. Doesn't land the other toe. Needs to try again. He does hit him. Oh, and the flash away, though. Can he get the kill? He just needs to hit him once. There he goes. But he will pay for it with his life. And Huni gonna take down Olaf in the end. A 2-for-1 trade for SKT.
2-for-1 trade, and it came at such a perfect timing. Huni now 3 kills, and you could see Peanut flashed away to try to get his cooldowns back up and go into the brush, use brush play so that he could wait and pull Punch into a position that would be more favorable for his teammate. And so now up in the top lane, huge level advantage, huge gold advantage for SK Telecom. Now Peanut doesn't even have to worry about going back top.
Yeah. Can focus everywhere else in the map. You can see what's going down in bot. You were talking about the bullying lane. Had the Deadly Flourish hit from Jin, perhaps, but let's take another look at this fight.
So they were calling up Punch, and this is a really high variance decision where Huni doesn't need to take this trade, but Roach was intentionally trading unfavorably to try to bait Huni to come in. But unfortunately, Peanut read this and was actually up there in top lane, and they just turned it on Kongdoo.
Punch just delaying quite a bit, but that flash, as you were saying, does secure the kill. It's nicely done. Peanut now down towards the blue side jungle. Punch will see him now. Faker joining in, but trying to steal some of these Raptors. Not quite. Peanut taking a ton of damage. Uh-oh. Punch is on the chase, as is Edge. Does not land the undertow. Peanut's been pretty good, but the flash forward, and he will get the kill. But uh-oh, Bang in a bit of a rough spot. Now is going to be forced to flash away.
Oh, and that was really good for Kongdoo Monsters. I think that Peanut wasn't expecting Edge to go for that play. He got punished for it, and I was a little surprised to see that he didn't try to eat the plant right there to get a little bit more HP. And you could tell that Faker wasn't expecting it either. He didn't cast the exhaust onto Edge either, though I'm not quite sure if he was in range for it. So you see, Faker's just trying to dish out the damage that he can. He certainly wasn't in range. And then the flash play is just too much, and Peanut just goes down. You see Bang was trying to come up so maybe they could sandwich Kongdoo Monsters, but in the end, it just is a kill going over to Kongdoo.
Yeah, Bang, unfortunate positioning, but is going to flash away. And uh-oh, here comes Huni onto Edge. Can he land the pin? No. But he is going to ult in, and here comes the exhaust. Faker, he wants that kill, the last star, and he does get the kill. Nicely done. Huni coming down, and man, this guy is on fire so far for SKT.
Yep, and Huni's going to go back up to top lane, where the lane is in his favor. Peanut on the left-hand side of the map again. Meanwhile, in mid lane, giving that kill to Faker at that point is so crucial, because now Edge is going to fall behind. Faker maintains his flash, only having to have used the exhaust right there. And all the lanes for SKT are in such a good spot, puts so much pressure on Punch.
What can he really do here? He's struggling to find any real, damage on the map or just anywhere to help his team out. He's tried top, and that didn't really work out for him. Where else can he really go? He helped out with getting Peanut in the river. That was about it. Now Edge is going to get blue buff. Will definitely help out with clearing these waves against the Corki.
Now I like what's happening right now. So Faker with the big package, and it's big, is pushing in mid lane, and Huni, meanwhile, in top lane. Also, notice his itemization. He opted into the Sheen second. He really wants to go aggressive and extend that lead up there. He's pushing in the wave, and he has teleport. So if they want to make a 5-man play happen in bottom, they can definitely look to do it.
You can see the Scuttle Crab was grabbed there for SKT as the Mountain Drake is on the map. Definitely something that they would like to get if possible. Maybe they can make a play here as Wolf hits 6. Not 100% sure how close he is exactly.
Seems like Guger is a little bit over halfway. And Wolf taking a little bit of a trade. Here comes Peanut down to bottom lane, and Huni has teleport.
That he does. There's no vision at all. But Peanut's not going to commit. He's just going to back off, not going to go for it.
You can see Faker wanted to make his way down too, potentially. Finds a control ward. He'll be fine. He can Valkyrie over.
Lots of damage still coming out, and you can see Faker is like, okay, well, your cooldowns are down, so I can take a trade for now. And he is still sticking around. He is so confident. He's like, no, I know you guys can't get anywhere near me. What are you going to do? I can just poke you easily, come back in a mid lane, and get my farm.
So now it looks like Faker might be recalling. Not quite sure what he is doing. Yep, he just moves out of vision. And bottom lane has to be very careful. At a moment's notice, Bang can just turn on that curtain call, and then when Wolf has level 6 followed up with the Nethergrass, have a flank teleport, come in from Huni, and if Faker makes his way down to bottom 2, things can get really ugly really quick.
You see this trading going on here. Huni, even though he does have the lead, it still is tank on tank, so just going to live with the kills that he has and just try to get the farm advantage perhaps. And Peanut is going to invade once again, but he was spotted, so let's see if Kongdoo can set anything up. It looks like Peanut's not going to go in too far, but put down some wards. Yep.
Now, those wards, they're not going to play such a big role outside of right now where obviously they spot out Punch. They're for later on. They're for Huni later on when they try to secure control around the Mountain Drake so that Huni has the best possible teleport wards available to him to get into the backline of Kongdoo.
See if they can set that up a little bit later on. With this Mountain Drake, as I was talking about before, it's on the map, so both teams are really hanging around here trying to make something happen, see if they can get some picks. But so far, you can see SKT doesn't really want to go in there just yet, as Faker is checking all the brushes for any control wards. Wants to make sure that the vision around the top side of the jungle, of the river, is cleared out.
Oh,
shot
Peanut.
blast, man. So much damage.
Yeah. Punch just checking on all the camps of Peanut. He's going to find himself a Gromp. He might just take it. He knows that Peanut had to just recall, so this will be a free pickup for him. Also important to note that it looks like Punch is opting into the Righteous Glory first item Olaf. Very all-in, mid-game focused itemization coming out of him.
You can see Faker was heading top, and I was talking about before he was clearing out all the vision. Hold that thought, going to use the Nethergrass onto Cougar. It was a bait. Cougar's not going to go down. Punch coming in. I think he went a little bit too deep, trying to get onto Bang, but there's the Shock Blast, and here is Edge trying to get onto Peanut as well. It looks like he should be able to double kill, and Kongdoo Monster turning that one around, evening up the game.
Yep, Kongdoo Monsters turned that around indeed, and now Soul gonna be able to pick up this First Blood turret, I think. Well, he might be in a race with Faker. Doesn't look like it's going to be that much of a race, though. And so First Blood turret going over to Kongdoo Monsters. Faker was able to do a lot of damage to that mid-tier 1 turret in the meantime, but take another look at this. So Cougar and Soul walk up pretty far forward. They knew that Punch was here from behind. Really easy pickup onto Wolf. Couldn't find the kill onto Bang, and then it looked like everything was fine for a second until Edge showed up. And he just turned everything on to SKT.
Man, we were talking about Jace as definitely one of the stronger picks right now for both mid and top. And the amount of damage he puts out this early on in the game, even with just Youmuu's and the Hex Drinker, is just so much. And if you can get into a position with that acceleration gate to go in there and support a gank like that, you're going to be cleaning up house, and that's exactly what he did. Oh, here we go. The teleport coming in, though. And Roach is going to teleport himself. Huni does get the pin onto Edge this time around, and a huge knockup from that Poppy. Will Edge go down? No, it doesn't look like it. He will survive somehow, some way.
Yep, Faker just barely missed his ultimate onto Edge. And this situation could have gone a lot worse for Kongdoo Monsters, so fortunately for them, they didn't lose any members. But SK Telecom probably going to be able to pick up Mountain Drake here.
That's what I was thinking. With so many members of Kongdoo low, you could definitely try to get that Mountain Drake, but looks like Peanut didn't go directly there.
Yep.
So they're just going to hand off blue to Faker instead first.
Interesting choice. So they're going to give the blue buff over to Faker. He does have that Trinity Force. He doesn't need to recall again, at least not anytime soon. And meanwhile, Peanut's going to make his way over to the left-hand side of the map. Now, interestingly, Soul is staying in bottom, and Roach doesn't have teleport. Now, the next side of the map that Punch is going to move to is obviously his right-hand side, as his red buff just came back up, and mid is under a lot of pressure. So they might still have Dragon in mind. Saw an immediate recall again, and we continue to see Soul moving over to the right-hand side of the map. And if they're going to want to pick up Mountain Drake, then they need to do it now.
Ward, nice ward there from Kongdoo actually to spot Wolf and Peanut and Faker all coming in. Can Roach get away though? Not with the flash Nethergraphs, that's for sure. This guy is dead meat. Down he goes. Gonna give another kill over to Huni.
Huni getting extremely fed. Roach going down there. Kongdoo Monsters does respond by taking mid-tier 1 turret. They do lose top tier 1. That's not the biggest loss. I would definitely value the mid-tier 1 turret over that one. Now Kongdoo Monsters also going to pick up a Mountain Dragon.
Oh, but the Rift Herald being started here by SKT, they had to have known that the response would be the Drake by Kongdoo Monsters, so they used this time to try to go for that Rift Herald. The question is there enough time for Kongdoo to get up here? It doesn't look like it.
And it seems like they're also going to put the Rift Herald onto Peanut, as Huni not making his way over. This will definitely amplify his assassination attempts later on, but a little surprising that they don't put it on their split pusher and Edge.
Really fast reaction time there from the Deadly Flourish. He doesn't get hit by it. Does not get slowed, so Huni is not able to follow up.
Huni did pick up mid-turret though. He's pulling a lot of gold, probably going to recall here soon, and Faker now split pushing in bottom lane. He does have the Valkyrie, so he can move across the map, and he's relatively safe against the champions that Kongdoo can send to him. But meanwhile, Sol rotating up to top lane. This is the obvious rotation right now because Kongdoo just wants to get that tier 1 top turret.
See Zyra hanging around, Punch making his way over. Look at all the deep warding of that top side from SKT. They have 4 wards inside the top blue side jungle and a couple in the river too. So complete vision of all of that area. Here comes Faker going on to Roach, even going to exhaust, forces the flash out. And with Wolf coming in, perhaps they can continue to dive onto him. Prolific Visions, and there's the Nether Grasp, gonna follow up with that damage kill given over to Faker. Nicely done, and Roach is now, or rather, yeah, Roach is now 0-4-1 in this game.
Huni really needs to defend this turret. He does have that Spirit Massage.
He's not taking any damage.
Taking any damage, yeah.
He's just sitting there. They're throwing everything at him. Finally, he begins to take a little bit of damage. Shock Blast goes wide. He saves the turret by himself against 4.
And meanwhile, Faker gonna pick up a turret in bottom lane.
Did I say 4? I meant 5. I don't know how that's even possible, but Fed Poppy is Fed Poppy.
I really like how Peanut is actually hanging around near Faker. Just farming out the golems, and we'll take another look at this. So Faker actually casted the exhaust early, and then Roach was like, okay, wait, you actually can kill me. But it didn't matter anyway, as Wolf was here to give the kill over to Faker, locking down Roach with that Nether Grasp.
Yeah, by the time Roach was starting to back out of there, it was already too late. And you know, Faker said it before that he can see a kill coming 5 seconds early. I'm sure he knew the second he saw Malzahar coming down, he's like, yeah, we got this kill. And so they did.
And now the question is going to be what is Kongdoo Monsters really going to do? When you pick the Ziggs and when you pick the Olaf, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on where you want to accelerate the early game very quickly and get a lot of tower gold using Ziggs' ability to raise turrets very fast. But SK Telecom were able to basically outpace Kongdoo Monsters. And even though Kongdoo does have the Mountain Drake, I don't feel like they're in a position right now that they're going to be able to charge headstrong into SKT.
Maybe if someone on SKT makes a mistake, that's not really something they're known for. They're the team that makes the least mistakes. You could see Scuttle Crab up in top side river, so it's not even like the Baron can be snuck away. I'm sure SKT is going to be very mindful of that as well. And so they kind of have to play catch up from here. Right now they're 2,000 gold behind. They're facing a super fed Poppy and a nicely fed Corki. So 2 very scary champions once they do get fed.
The 2 champions that needed all the gold on SKT's team composition are the ones that have them, the Corki and the Poppy Nether Grasp.
Yeah, coming in, and that's going to be a dead Cougar. And Curtain Call, can it kill Sol here? It's not going to be enough damage by itself. Doesn't hit the 4th shot either. And just going to be happy with the kill onto Cougar.
Now we see SK Telecom moving down to the bottom half of the map. They definitely want to draw Kongdoo's attention over here.
And here comes Punch. Nice Shock Blast onto Peanut. He does take a bit of damage. But we do see the smite coming in. Peanut will pick up that red buff away from Kongdoo.
Can't quite see bottom lane right now, but we can see that there is a problem where bottom is going to shove back into SK Telecom. And so now you're looking at this from Kongdoo's vision, and think to yourself, what is Kongdoo really thinking? The minion waves just keep coming into them, but then ultimately they keep sending in the bottom wave to SK Telecom, which lets SKT funneling gold wherever they deem it necessary, and it just ends up leaving one of the members of Kongdoo Monsters basically poor without a lane.
Kind of a rough spot to be in. Not exactly the same issue that Afrika had in their other game, where they could just not find any place to farm. And SKT is really just playing off of that. You know, it's farming up. You can see Faker continuously getting more than 10 CS a minute. He's 3-0-1 now. He's picked up an Infinity Edge too. This guy's going to be doing so much damage, and I don't really know what Kongdoo Monster can do to stop that. You can see that SKT going to pick up some more gold onto that super fed Poppy and set up for the Dragon after they do push this lane.
Dragon is coming up in just 5 seconds, and you can see that Kongdoo Monsters are not in a position to contest this. And it is going to be another Mountain Drake, so now the Mountain Drakes will be even for both teams.
Pretty nice. Gotta pick that up. Means that they can, once they do get a Baron, or even if they don't, they can begin to push a bit easier as well. You get to see Huni sticking around. Both top laners do have their teleport, but at this point, there's no way that Roach can 1v1 this Poppy. He's down 2 levels. He's a lot less farmed. And so Poppy just can continuously push that lane for as long as he deems is necessary. Right,
and as you just brought up about the Mountain Drake, it does make it a lot easier for SK Telecom to break down the towers, even though normally Ziggs would be really good at stalling the game out, much similarly to a Varus or a Victor.
You can see Kongdoo trying to make something work here. They're really looking for a pick. They're trying to clear out as much vision around that Baron and the inside of the jungle for a red team as possible. Roach was trying to farm, but Huni's back. He hasn't gone anywhere.
See, it's just a huge battle of vision around SK Telecom's red side jungle. Kongdoo Monsters' goal right now is to set up a proper ward for Roach to somehow get onto the backline of SKT. But even if he does get onto Faker, Faker can just Valkyrie away. So the real target ends up being Bang.
Yeah, that's very true. And you look at the items of Maokai so far, Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage, just like, are almost maybe going on that direction. But look at this, Kongdoo Monster trying to come in. And yeah, just back to what I was saying, the Corki, once he Valkyries away, maybe he can just turn on to that Maokai. He's not even that tanky just yet. So got to be very careful about that.
Looks like Faker's actually going to pick up the red buff. So it's not going to go over to Bang, and I think that's a pretty good decision. Faker is super fed right now. He's going to go up to top lane, pick up a little bit more farm. I don't think it's a wise decision of Edge to try to contest him here. They both have exhaust up.
Maybe if you can poke him down a bit, but even then, it's going to be very hard.
Huni now with the Sunfire Cape completed, gonna have a much easier time split pushing against Roach. And this is something that Kongdoo Monsters, they don't have a good reply to.
Whoa, look at that punch. Using that plant to try to jump in onto Faker, but look at how much damage he does. There's the big package, immediate exhaust onto Edge. Wolf wants to get in there and get the Nether Grasp down, but oh, he's just barely gonna get away.
That was really funny to watch. So Faker was chunking down punch, and then Edge came over, and then Faker said, "You want some too?"
You want some of my big package? Here I come.
Yep.
And, well, he almost got the kill. That would have been nice. Had they picked up Jace, that would have taken a lot of poking away from the side of Kongdoo. Maybe they could have started the Baron. And you could have Huni come on up. Oh boy. Curtain call gets Cougar very low. And here comes Huni. He wants it, the flash away as well as the heal, but he's not stopping there. The huge ultimate gets both Cougar and Soul and Punch, and down he goes. Faker gonna get a kill. Uh-oh, Roach, you were not in the right position. He's gonna try to go in, gets pinned against the wall. Do they have enough damage to take him out? Yes, they do. But uh-oh, here comes Edge, and a lot of members of SKT very low in the back line, as well as Poppy going down. So Kongdoo Monsters somehow able to turn that around, and now they're on the chase. Oh.
Peanut able to jump away from that. Edge just saved that fight. You look at the summoners on Kongdoo Monsters and SKT. Everyone doesn't have a summoner except for Faker. Now we're going to take another quick look at that replay. So the curtain call failed to get Cougar. Huni came in right here, chose to go on to Soul first, got a beautiful ultimate, and then Peanut and Faker arrived to wrap up the damage onto Punch. But pay attention to Soul while they're wrapping up Roach. You can see that Edge comes in here and he does so much damage with that shockwave. And then when he got onto the backline, I was a little bit surprised to see him not take it further.
Yeah.
And instead he chose to turn around. And Kongdoo Monsters definitely salvaged that fight, probably to the best of their ability.
You can see that Huni also ate like 6 or 7 tower shots, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he is so tanky, so he was able to eat that much, but still did eventually go down. Curtain call coming down onto Soul, tons of damage, but no mana on Peanut. Here's Huni though, he wants first blood. Can he do it all himself? Yes, he can. There's Faker on the left side too. Gonna get another kill. Now Punch and Roach, all they can do is run away. And Faker, he wants even more. Huni has the turret aggro as well, so Roach is gonna go down. Huni just does not die. And that's gonna be 4 for 0 as SKT now turn towards the Baron.
Yeah, Huni does not see turrets, and now SKT making their way over to the Baron with the Mountain Drake. This isn't even really going to be too much of an issue. Have the HP, so it's not like they risk any member dying. And Kongdoo Monsters have to just give this up. There's no way for Punch to obviously get there. And the next focus for SKT is probably going to be the Dragon coming up in 40 seconds. And now the question comes is, how does Kongdoo Monsters resist a push? So taking a look at this replay, you can see the Curtain Call doing so much damage to Soul. And even though Huni had Guger wrapped up, he saw a better target, and he immediately turned his attention over to Soul. And then Faker telling Edge that, hey, I actually deal a lot of damage too. Faker knew at this point that Huni had tower aggro, so he was able to commit further into the fight and just constantly keep adding DPS for SKT. And just a beautiful team fight.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The communication there from Faker and Huni was great too, because Huni switched targets to a better one, as you were saying, but he was like, Faker was probably telling him, hey, I got Zyra, don't worry about it. I'm coming from the left side. Let me get him. And from there, just a fantastic position too to continue dishing out that damage. And well, I was waiting until Faker was going to play this Corki. It's been a favorite of mine nowadays. I've been playing it a lot myself, and it's just, it does so much damage. And the positioning, you can get perfect positioning on this champion, and if it's in the hands of someone like Faker, it's just such a beauty to watch.
Yep, indeed. And the thing about Corki is that he has a lot of good matchups in the current meta, and the exhaust is so strong on him. Such a safe pick, able to roam to top and bottom at a moment's notice. And he just scales up so well. And with the new way that people are itemizing him, it makes it even more difficult to resist him when it comes to the mid game and the late game.
Nobody can resist that big package, man. Corki is just way, way too good. And you can see Edge is trying to get around here and trying to deny him this turret, but Faker will have his way. He will get the turret. So you can see up here once again in the top, there's no way for Roach to deal with that super fed Poppy. And the mid turret's going to go down here too. They can rotate to the top. They might not even need to. Huni's going to get it himself. So that's 3 turrets in a row with that Baron.
Yeah. 3 turrets down, and just look at the levels of SKT compared to Kongdoo Monsters. Faker's already level 18, by the way.
What?
Edge is 15. Bang, level 15 to Soul's 14. Guger at 11, Wolf at 12. So it's not even just itemizations and gold at this point. It's also base levels are just out of control for SK Telecom. And with the Baron still alive, they're just going to eventually be able to knock on Kongdoo's door. And even if Roach and Punch could somehow find a way into the backline, it's not going to mean anything. They don't have the type of builds right now to resist against Faker's damage.
Yeah, they really don't. People like to joke about Poppy actually gaining health whenever he takes poke, but you can see the difference. Well, hold that thought. Here comes Faker onto Roach. Soul is there to help out, but Faker's like, yeah, okay, you want a piece of this? But now with Edge on the way, maybe Faker has finally overstepped his boundaries. He is going to kill Roach, but will go down himself. Now Huni will get hit by the undertow, but I don't think that's really going to matter, honestly. Inhibitor does barely go down. A couple more hits will do it. There they do get it. So just a big distraction out of Faker and Huni to allow SKT to get an inhibitor.
Yep. SK Telecom really well coordinated right there. They drew all the attention up to top inhibitor turret, and that ended up meaning that they were pulled away from bottom, which let Bang and crew secure the inhibitor. And now everyone's going to recall, probably steal away this red buff, put it on to Bang, and then after that, it's going to probably just be one more shove up into mid lane. Now, if the question is can Kongdoo Monsters do anything against this? They're down 12,000 gold. They don't have summoners on their main engaged champions. They don't have the Ghost on Olaf. They don't have the Flash on Roach. How do they win a team fight?
I think the answer here is that they don't, honestly. You have a 6-1-4 Faker Corki. You have a Poppy that is this fed. Huni has been really impressing me. You know, the more and more I watch this guy, it's obvious that he's fantastic on these tank champs as well, and it's just so much fun to watch. Peanut, he hasn't really been stealing the show in this game, but he's been doing a decent job for his team too. And so, you know, just rounding it out, everybody, you know, definitely Bang and Wolf winning that bot lane at the same time. even if it was slightly. And SKT looking stronger than ever.
Yep. Now here comes the push in mid. Huni up in top lane. He has that teleport if they need it. You can see that Faker's also making his way up to top. So what they're probably going to do here is they're going to execute a 2-3-0. And so that's going to be 2 in top, 3 in mid, 0 in bottom. And they're just going to use Huni to peel for Faker and probably let Faker attack the turret. And then at that point, Roach can't defend against it.
Faker just poking against 3, no big deal. And here's that push you were talking about, although Faker is going to join up in mid, make it a 1-4-0. Huni's push isn't that far in just yet. And here's Roach. Looks like he had to go back while he was dealing with the Huni. Still can't quite do it. You can see Guger has to come on over.
And the problem here is that Huni can actually, even though he takes turret aggro, his trades against the turret is stronger than Roach's trades against him while he's eating turret aggro. Curtain call comes down. Kongdoo stands in a line. And meanwhile...
Oh, yeah. The snipe, man! Oh, man, Bang is just so good. Gets the kill. Just one slight misstep, and you're going to go down. And here's the follow-up. Nethergrass coming down. Everybody on Kongdoo being wiped. You can see Roach trying to go in 1v4. That's not going to do it. Soul... He's the last member here, as well as Punch, and Huni just going to 1v2 for now as SKT begins to push onto these turrets.
Yeah, Faker trying to get some KDA right at the end here. Oh my, that damage. Final Nexus turret
insane.
Will fall.
Oh man, he wants it.
Oh,
and he's going to give it over to Peanut. Gets the assist. GG, SKT with the dominating first game.
That was just carnage. That was so one-sided once SK Telecom started to get into their groove. And even though Kongdoo had some stuff going for them early on with the first Blood turret and getting the first Mountain Drake, they just got completely out-macroed, and Faker scaled like a monster.
So good, man. These guys, 3-time world champions. They have the most fangirls. They're the Yankees of League of Legends. They have all the best players, and they're just looking so strong. It's insanity what these guys can do. Faker doesn't look impressed, not even in the slightest.
He's really mad. He wanted that kill at the end, but Peanut took it. So he told Peanut that he's going to go complain to Koma now backstage.
Yeah. Peanut's like, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry, Hyung. I should have given that over to you.
Peanut knows that they're going to draft Aatrox for him now. Peanut said enough of this.
I'm sure everybody would love to see some trolly champs, I guess you can call them, come out here for SKT, but got to keep their sights straight. Kongdoo is still a strong team. We'll see if they can fight back going into game number 2. We are going to go to that analyst desk as well, so stay tuned, guys.